Welcome, Begüm Aslan, for another edition of the Bavarian Basstalk. We are here the final day of the 11th Bavarian Bassdays. And you did already workshops, you played in the concert, you were teaching single lessons, ensemble lessons. What is your impression of everything?
Well, first of all, I'm very happy to meet with you 6 years ago. And I'm really happy to be here at the same time. And for me, it was a very nice and culturally interesting experience to be here. Especially, I think this event, first of all, is very important in the art scene in Germany here, especially for double bass. First of all, the first concert we did, the Masters of Bass, that I had the chance to listen so many diverse style of double bass music, which was very interesting, and especially playing in the Bavarian Bass Orchestra with all kind of ages, and it just felt so in peace in my heart. So I really enjoyed to be there making music with people in that concert, and listening romantic style, listening classical style, listening contemporary music, listening new compositions, jazz, especially your piece that you did with the flute and bass. And
with the double bass flute.
Yes, double bass flute, and then also your e-bass composition on the transcription of Rabat piece was so inspiring for me. That concert, I will keep it in my heart. And also the teaching experience was very nice. I really enjoyed it, and I realized that every student is very personal and very special here, and the time we spent here, I think also for me as well, were very impactful, and was something to remember on. And especially the individual lessons, I had the time to discover a lot with the new personalities on bass. So that's also helped me to understand how can I help people more in a better way. So for me that's very interesting, because in teaching I think it's very important to find your way to how you can react to the students. So students feel safe in the room, so students feel relaxed, students feel not shy. So you need to have this connection with the student, and you need to give this expression of that you are actually working together. So it's not a job, but it's a mission that we need to complete together with the students.
How did you feel about that mix of ages, styles, and also the abilities? I mean, we had very beginners and very advanced, and amateurs, and everything in between, all the levels.
Yes, which is crazy. But in my thinking, it doesn't matter what age you are. The most important thing is what you want to do with the double bass, and what you want to do with the life. So even though you are very young, or even though you are very old, or you are very beginner or very advanced, for me this actually does not really matter. Of course it's important, but does not really matter, because what we need to focus as teachers, that what this person wants to improve with the bass, what this person wants to do with the bass. So we need to give this space to the students, so they have the opportunity to improve more. So what they want is the most important thing. So for me, I don't see any age difference. For me, what is important is what the other person think, and to respect that thinking. Especially to see every person as individuals. So it doesn't matter if they're really beginners, if they're really advanced. At the end, we are all human, and we need to respect that. And we need to respect. Also, we need to respect how much work we do. For example, if someone is playing good, we need to also respect that person that put lots of effort actually on that playing. So that's important for us. If it inspires us, if it moves us, I think it's something that we really need to show the respect. So I feel very open personally to be able to show that respect and to tell that. So that's why for me age is not important, even though they're very young and very old. It's very important to respect what that person musically wants.
You are talking very wisely, and I mean, you are still very young also. How was your way, you know, to get to the point where you are now from the very beginning? Where did you start? What was that point that got you together with double bass?
Got me together.
Yeah.
That how I started, or how I felt like I really want to continue my life with
No,
this
how?
instrument.
Also this one, but the other question is, I mean, it could be flute or trumpet or guitar, or why bass?
Well, I also have flute and I also have clarinet and trumpet at home. I play jazz, so I was bored. I just bought from Amazon a trumpet and a clarinet, so I learned how to play it by myself. I asked some friends. So I also like to play jazz and stuff like that. I think, in general, I feel really connected to the music itself. So the sound, the rhythm, because for me the music is how we organize the time, how we spend the time, how we feel the time with it, how we want to feel. And for me the most meaningful thing to do, the time itself, is to feel it with music, feel it with sound. So for me the most important thing. I like playing instruments, but why did I choose bass? Is so somehow I didn't get into a conservatory for like 3 years in my country. So for me as a kid, it was something very cool to play an instrument. So since it took me 3 years to get into conservatory, I was like, I need to play something that is very different than other instruments. It shouldn't be really easy. So I wanted to choose something very hard. And I went there and I saw the piano and I was like, no, it's too easy. You just push and there's a sound coming. And as a kid I thought this would be so easy, and violin would be so easy, flute would be so easy. But then I saw the bass and I was like, wow, because in Turkey, I don't know, before that I never seen also at that year.
Can you say again from what city in Turkey you're coming?
So I started my studies in Mersin.
Mersin.
Yeah.
This is where you also got together with
Yes,
the
with
bass,
the-
and
yeah.
there it started.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I saw the bass, because before that especially there were no bass departments in the school as well. So they opened that year that I entered. Then they showed me, look, this is a double bass. And I was like, wow, it's so cool. It's so huge. I was like, I have to play it. Because I was looking for a different instrument.
But you, what age have you been in this time?
11, 12.
11, 12. And was it already possible to play for you on a big bass?
Oh, no. So what they didn't have a small bass. They didn't have mini bass. So what they did was they had a really huge bass in the conservatory. So they made me as some kind of step. So I was putting my feet on it. So so it heightens
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Then I was trying to play it. But I was so ambitious about it, because it took me 3 years, right? To be able to play an instrument somehow. So I was like practicing every day, and I was like, I will be better than everyone, because I'm already really small and I'm practicing with a huge bass. So I was always like so ambitious when I first started. Yeah.
We also have the Mini Bass Academy here,
Yeah.
and there is one participant of Turkey also.
Oh.
What is the actual situation you think in Turkey about mini bass and education on the bass for kids?
So, well, I don't go that often to Turkey, so I cannot really say that I'm really hugging the situation in Turkey, because I don't know enough to give enough information. But during my studies, which is not also so long time ago, because it's been around 9 years that I'm playing the bass. So during my studies, it was not possible. There were no mini basses, and there were not so many young students. This does
What
not
do you
really
think in
exist.
general about the idea of starting with kids on mini bass?
I think that's very nice. That's very nice, and they feel the sound, so they learn about how to touch the instrument, so they get familiar with it, which is very important because we keep the things that we love, and we keep the tradition.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we have the tradition. We need this tradition. For example, we spend time with our family. We learn the language, right?
Mhm.
And we hear them speaking, so we learn it. And we eat the food that our mom makes, our father makes, so we learn how it tastes. And with time, we get used to it, so we start to love it. And then we search for the things that we are used to. Because having something new is always somehow hard to human being. Having something new and meeting with something new is always somehow it gives an accent to the person. So these are very small things that I'm talking about, eating food, speaking a language, but the simple things in life is the most impactful things that actually we don't recognize them, but we somehow have them. So that's why also starting an instrument at a really young age is very important, because you have the feeling of it, you get used to it. So automatically from some age you realize that it's part of yourself, like a language, like a food that you grow up with. So when you start also earlier to the bass, I think you would have this connection of, it's actually you're part of it.
And
which it's not. I think it's also if you didn't start in the early age, it's also not a problem. Of course, there are so many people who did not start it in the really early age.
I started double bass in your age.
Yeah,
I was 22.
Yeah, and you're an amazing player, so it doesn't say that it's not possible, but it's very important.
I think the older you are, the harder it is to train some abilities.
You think?
I think I experienced it. That some things that I see in my students in young ages are like nothing.
Yeah.
For me, was very hard to achieve.
Yeah.
So, but it's like language also, like you say, to have a language natural, it happens in the age of 3, 4, 5, and after that it's getting harder and harder. A final question: what is your advice do you have an advice for students?
For students, for beginners, or?
For whoever who wants to just go on.
Know what you want and search for it and just go for it. Know what you want, and because what we do, music is something very personal, and it needs to be personal and it needs to be authentic. It needs to come from heart. Of course, you need to have the technique, but what important thing is what you have inside, and you can transform it with your fingers or with your voice, with your singing. So this is the important thing. So know what you are and what you want as a person. Know your soul, so you can transport it to the audience. So you can transport it to other people.
Do you think this knowledge, it depends on styles or on any other backgrounds? What, for example, what is that you want? What
I want personally.
Is it like I want classical music, I want jazz, I want this, or is it something else?
It's not specifically, what I'm saying is not specifically regarding the music, because also in your personal life you don't know what you want really. Anything, like deciding anything. If you don't know it, it also shows with your music, because music is somehow, it has to be emotional, because what we do needs to have a movement in the audience. If audience doesn't feel any movement, any emotion, then why would like to watch that performance? Because they want to keep a memory with it. That's why we do things in life, right? So what I want, I just enjoy listening music, anything simple, and I enjoy doing simple things and finding the details in the simple things and looking for them. It's really meaningful for me. So it doesn't matter if I do classical, which I feel a really strong connection to it, because it's been so long time that I'm doing classical music and contemporary classical music as well, which I love listening to it. But I also love listening jazz and pop music, so many different styles. So for me, what's important is to keep the art going and to be able to make a movement with it.
Good words. Thank you so much, Begüm, for this beautiful talk.
Thank you.